The LA Clippers roster looks pretty set, but are there more trades to make? What potential players could be coming in? Is the front office up to something that we don't know about? We are going to be talking about the potential moves the Clippers could make right before the season on today's Locked On Clippers.
You are Locked On Clippers, your daily Los Angeles Clippers podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Yes, sir. You are locking in with the Clips. Thanks for making Locked On Clippers the first listen of your day, your team every day. I am your host, Darian Vaziri, 18 years a Clipper fan. Also have my own YouTube channel and podcast known as Dime Dropper, where I go live and talk about Clipper and Laker games after they happen, and of course do NBA history content and vlogs from various sporting events I attend. And for today's episode, I am happy to bring on another fellow Clipper podcaster and content creator. He just got his media credentials this season. You can catch him at the game. Writes Clipper articles for Last Word on Sports, but also podcast host for SB Nation, and recently had Terrence Mann, Brian Seaman, and Luke Kennard on his show. My man Jon Lee, fellow Clipper fan. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Don. I appreciate that intro. It makes it sound like I do a lot, even though I don't. But
you do, man. I'm seeing you I always see you on the Clipper Facebook pages, man, promoting the content. So that's always good stuff, man. We need more people pushing, and you know your stuff.
Yeah, no, I like when I see that you like it. I was like, oh God, I always forget he's like in these, and because like sometimes I don't get many likes in some of them, and then sometimes I do. So I was like, oh cool, he liked my stuff this time. So yeah, thank you for that.
Yes, sir. So guys, go check out their podcast. I mean, Terrence Mann, Luke Kennard, Brian Seaman, those are big names in the Clipper community right now. But are we going to be adding any more new names to the Clipper community? I've been asked in the comments by you guys, or by you, what potential trades the Clippers can make. And obviously the biggest question mark for the team is that backup center position we've been talking about for so long. San Antonio Spurs center Jakob Pöeltl from the Austrian went to Utah. There's rumors that he's on the market. First, let me ask you, Jon, what are your thoughts of Jakob being the potential hole that we need in the roster? You think we need to go out and get a backup big, and how do you think he'd fit?
I think like have to is like kind of strong. I think he would be a really good backup center though for them. Again, we don't really know what Moses Brown's going to do. I don't think they're going to run Nico and Rocco into the ground and make them play small ball all the time. But I do think you do need an actual solid backup center that can like eat minutes with that second unit and give Zoo a rest. And then God forbid if he gets hurt, you definitely want a backup. And then Pöeltl's like, he's always been pretty solid from what I've seen. I don't know if his price is worth it to give up certain things. I know the Clippers can match salary, but I am a fan of him. I think he's probably the number one center on my list, not free agent signing.
Yeah, and he's not even that. I wouldn't even say he's much worse than Zoo. I think he's right around his level. I mean, last season he averaged 13 points, 9.5 rebounds, but he got 5 more minutes than Zoo. So those are very similar to Zoo's numbers. Do you think? So let's ask. You said the asking price. What are the Spurs asking for?
So you would need to make salaries match. So I would assume it'd be most likely to me it would be Marcus Morris or Luke Kennard. I don't know how much the Spurs would want Marcus Morris. I think I'm pretty sure he committed to them and then afterwards decommitted and went to like New York. So I don't know if they're like still sour over that. They might be. And then I also saw some of that they want 2 first-round picks, and that's not worth it for Jakob Pöeltl. So I don't know about that. That's why that's like a pipe dream to me. But it would be a great thing if the Clippers could pull it off.
And do you think? I mean, when are the Clippers' next first-round picks that they have? Do we even have the 2023 first-round pick? Or is that for OKC?
I think the next one they could trade is 2027 and 2029, if I'm not mistaken. That's what I believe, or unless it's a Lakers pick. But I know it's a little later because you can't trade – what do you call it? I know you can't trade consecutive picks. I'm like terrible at front office, all this stuff. So I seem like a huge fraud right now.
I'm no better, man.
Yeah, no, we just like watching basketball. We don't know all the logistics stuff to it. But if it were me in the front office, I think the front office would think like this too. Like, you're not giving up a first round pick unless it's a starter.
Yeah.
Let alone a backup big when you're a small ball team. So one, let alone two. That's why I don't think it's gonna happen.
Yeah, two first round picks just seems a little bit steep. As far as Marcus Morris Sr., yeah, you mentioned it. That was a thing, but when he committed to the Spurs in the summer of 2019 and then ended up joining the Knicks. And I don't really, if you really think about it from the Spurs side as well, why would they even want Marcus Morris Sr.? Luke Kennard, maybe. I mean, he's a younger player, but the question is to me, why do you think they want to trade Jakob? You think they're thinking that he can contribute right now and they're looking for the future? Because he's not even that old.
No, he's not. It's just like
not old at all.
They just traded their best player, and I don't really think that they're not going to be super serious about the season. I know they say like, hey, we're not going to endorse tanking, but like, you got to call a spade a spade. Like, you're not going to be that good. Like, I don't think Keldon Johnson's a good player, but he's not going to carry them.
He's their best player.
He is. He might be like, what do you call it? A little OG Anunoby-esque. Have like a little jump like that. I think he could be really good, but I don't know. I just don't think they're going to compete for much, so they might as well get draft capital while they can.
Yeah, one of the comments I keep getting from a guy, shout out to you if you're listening, but I'm going to bring it up now. He keeps saying he wants the Clippers to go after Jared Vanderbilt, use their taxpayer mid-level exception or whatever, go out and get Jared Vanderbilt because he's a big wing that can play small ball five. But I asked him the similar question. I said, is that the same as what Rocco does for us? And is that even attainable? Because the Minnesota Timberwolves traded a lot. Vanderbilt went to the Jazz, didn't he?
Yeah, that's
there you go.
They got from Minnesota with Pat Bev, and then that's who they got for Rudy, and then the 5 picks. And I'm blanking out on the others. You could tell I'm really bad at transactions.
So Jared Vanderbilt's on the Jazz right now.
Correct. Yeah, that's who he's at. Because that's why they're talking about trying to get him, because like if you're on Utah right now, you're in purgatory. So like you could be on the move like Bogdanovich, like those guys are all like seemingly on the market right now, and Clarkson too. So that's why they're trying to get every piece they can.
So you think it's attainable? Can the Clippers make the salaries match with Vanderbilt?
I mean, yeah, they have contracts to make things match, but it's like, I love like the versatility of the small ball with all the wings, but I think like you said, like, is that not something Rocco does? Is that not something Nico does? And are they not like a lot better shooters as well?
They definitely are better shooters than Vanderbilt.
Yeah, for me, like, what's their upside? What's his upside over those two? Maybe athleticism, but those guys are like more savvy defensively in terms of like being in the right spots. Nico is one of the best in the league in taking on-ball challenges and helping off-ball. Rocco's crazy off-ball. Both good shooters. And plus you have Kawhi, PG, Terrence Mann. You got all these wings. So like you got all this. Like what are you doing for that? You trade Mook for him, you'll lose shooting. Granted, you'll get younger, more athleticism, more speed, but it's like I don't know. I don't think that's worth. To me, I don't think the Clippers need to make a move unless it's like you can get a center without gutting something that's important to you.
So I guess his angle would be, we're all talking about getting rid of Marcus Morris. Let me ask you that question real quick. Where do you stand on the Marcus Morris thing? Do you think that his presence on this team is a little bit redundant and it's confusing where he falls, or do you think we really are going to need him this season?
It's a little redundant. I know people get on him for like
and I'm not one of those. I think Marcus has done a lot for us, but I do feel as though we have enough scoring and shot creators on this team.
Yeah, think about it. You're gonna get Kawhi back. PG is gonna be playing. John Wall's gonna dominate more touches, and then on top of that, you got Norm Powell, who was averaging 20 a game last year, and then you have Mook, who honestly last year was like, in my opinion, it was his best year in years. Just because I thought he really stepped up when everyone was like injured and out, his mid range was like really efficient, even contested.
Oh yeah.
He had some really good game. Even the play-in, bro, he left it all out there. The very last game, it was really telling. It's just like it would be disappointing because he's one of my favorite players on the team. He's like one of the few players I have their jersey from the current team. I honestly only have him, Kawhi, and PG. Believe it or not,
he's really one thing I'll say about Marcus, man. He's really embraced the Clipper franchise, the fans, the culture. Like he really likes being here, and that's something you can say about a lot of our players now, which is awesome because it's not what we've been used to as fans. So, from the sound of things, it seems like you want him to stay.
I wouldn't mind. I do think that if it were me coaching, I wouldn't start him. Like I don't know if he'd be in the rotation, and if you have no backup five, like you may have to trot him out there. But like I really want Nico or Rocco to start. Because I think both of those guys really complement everything else that's going to be on the court. But I wouldn't mind if he's on the team. But obviously, if you can get something for him, you can. A little redundant, but I have no problems either way.
Yeah, I went with Nico as my starter pick alongside Kawhi, Paul, Zubats, and one of the point guards. But yeah, we're gonna have to see what happens. So I guess the takeaway here is that this Jakob Pöeltl asking price is a little too steep. I would not, if you're a Clipper fan, listen to this. I would not expect the Clippers to make the move there. Jared Vanderbilt, we'll see. Again, John makes some decent points. They could feel it's a little redundant with what we have with Rocco and Nico. So I wouldn't put my money on it. Would I be disappointed to see Jared Vanderbilt get traded for Marcus Morris? Not at all, because you could always use you could always use another wing that plays defense. So I'm never going to say no to that. But coming up, we're going to look at potential other scenarios. Are there any other bigs that could come in for the Clippers? Because it seems like they're set everywhere else. So we're going to be getting into that coming up. But again, some words from our folks at Bet Online. The 2022 World Cup is fast approaching and is almost upon us. The biggest event in all of sports, and your boy will be at week number 1. So here's some of my betting advice. Iran and England, first game. I know what you're thinking. Powerhouse versus a team that, when it comes to soccer, people don't talk about. But Iran has impressed in these tournaments of late. It is the draw. The money line is plus 440 for a draw in the opening game. And I would smash that one because Iran just got their old coach back and he is a defensive tactician. So I would not put it past them to get either a 0-0 or 1-1 draw in that first game with adrenaline running high. You can make some of that money. Remember, betonline.net is your number one source for all your betting info this season. Find all of the latest player developments, team matchups, news, podcasts, and in-depth articles and analysis on every game you can find. As always, BetOnline remains your continued source for all your sport wagering information. Head to betonline.net or use your mobile device to learn more. BetOnline, where the game starts. Okay, so now we are going to look at other potential ones. Jakob Pöeltl seemed like too much of an asking price. So you got any other ones? Any potential other backup bigs that the Clippers could make work with a Marcus Morris going out the door?
I have a couple. There's like some realistic ones and then some unrealistic ones. I think to me, one I would like, which is probably not realistic, is Morris or Luke for Rashawn Holmes. And then you'd have to throw in like one of the lower salary guys like Sam Merrill in there. I like Holmes, high energy. He has a nice floater in the paint. You don't need him to start in, even if I think if Zoo does miss time somehow, I think he's a good big body to have there and his starting experience. I like him. And I would say one other one I would like is maybe Nerlens Noel from Detroit. You would have to take on Corey Joseph's contract as well for Morris or Luke. So I kind of like that. They have 3 decent centers. They have Isaiah Stewart, Jalen Duren, their young guy, and then Noel. So someone's not going to be in the rotation or one of them's going to have to step out and hit threes and be a 4. So I think to me, those 2, there are others, but I want to know what you think on those ones.
Let's start with the first one. You said, who you say? Rashawn Holmes. So I've always actually been a fan of Rashawn Holmes. I used to call him Baby Montrez because he's really good at that push shot and he's very aggressive. But I'd say he's a little better on defense. Maybe not as good offensively as Montrez was, but that would be amazing. So what does it take to make that happen? Could we just trade? You said Senior and Luke Kennard.
One or the other, and then you would have to take on like one of their young guys' salaries, like Sam Merrill. But it's like
okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
I would definitely obviously prefer Marcus to go, but the thing is, now you think, what does that do for Sacramento? Although I mean, are they a team that lacks scoring? I mean, they could use maybe some scoring, but I don't know if that's a good move for them.
Yeah, I mean, they got what, Fox and then Mitchell,
Sabonis,
and then they got Sabonis. So it's like now you have like a 4 next to him. But they also got Keegan Murray, the shooter, who I thought was like really good. He's like Chris Middleton, like, so they have all this scoring. They got like an engine on offense in Sabonis, and they have a downhill guy in Fox. So it's like to me, they would probably want Luke instead, in my opinion. So I don't know.
I think most teams, if they have to choose right now, would probably want Luke. But let's see. I mean, I'm looking at their numbers right now. Yeah, 27th of 30 in defensive rating last season, but they were also 25th of 30 in offensive rating. So they just weren't good at anything really statistically. So I don't see it happening per se, but as you said, that's an optimistic one. That would be great. I mean, if the Clippers got Rashawn Holmes as a backup, I mean, they're in business. But then the other one you said, Nerlens Noel would be great. I mean, he had some really solid years in New York recently. They called him the Nerlens Wall. What would it take for that one? Senior Luke Kennard again?
Senior or Luke, and then you would have to take on maybe Corey Joseph's money. So you would have essentially 4 point guards on your roster. And so I don't know if they can like waive them or not, but yeah, I would like that deal.
It would be amazing. But it's unlikely, right? I mean, Corey Joseph, with all the point guards that we have, as you said, you might have to get waived, but I don't know. I just don't see that happening with bringing in Corey Joseph at all. What do you think?
Yeah, to me, the incentive is like they would want to get off money, and that's the only thing I could think of. And then I want to say like they have a log jam at the 5, so and they have 3 guys deserving of playing, like, and they just drafted a big endurance, so I think they would want to get him minutes. I think Stewart is like good for them. He's like a poor man's Ben Wallace from what I've seen. Like what I've seen is like a small 5, but he has like so much energy. He's crashing.
He does have a lot of energy. He's a good offensive rebounder. He's definitely going to be one of their pieces to stay for the season.
Yeah. And then like Nerlens Noel, I liked his production. I think at one point he said that he left Clutch, like he wanted the Clippers reached out to him or something, but then he didn't know because they wouldn't relay the information to him. So I think he did separate with his agent for that. For someone can correct me if I'm wrong, but I swear I think I've seen that somewhere.
There was a whole Clutch controversy with Noel, though. There was.
Yeah, I don't know if it it's Clutch is weird, bro. They Marcus Morris dipped out before San Antonio. Then Nerlens Noel couldn't talk with the Clippers, so maybe finally one of their guys like comes to us.
So the Clippers don't need to put Mark in this hypothetical for Nerlens Noel. Don't have to put in Marcus Morris and Luke Kennard, right? Just one of them.
Just one, yeah. It's his contract's not like that. You would have to take more money because his contract's a little less. So that's why I'm saying you have to take on Corey Joseph.
Right?
Yeah. It's just then you create another logjam at the 1.
It's funny you bring up Detroit because both Luke Kennard and Marcus Morris have formerly played for the Pistons, but I think honestly they wouldn't be too opposed to bringing Luke Kennard back. I think that around Cade Cunningham would be good, but Senior, I mean, I honestly think he would help get some buckets, but do they really want that? That's the question. I mean, that's a real question for me is which teams want a Marcus Morris Senior? Which teams need scoring and want shooting? Because there are teams that would want that. I just can't think of which ones off the top of my head, really.
Brooklyn, maybe. Like, I mean, they have Kyrie, KD, but they're
TJ Warren now, though.
Yeah, they have they have a little more wing. Because I'm thinking of their last roster, they were just a bunch of small guards.
Yeah, now they have Joe Harris is coming back too.
Yeah, Joe Harris running KD, and then like Ben Simmons is going to be like point forward for them. They got Claxton, so like they got a little more size now. Royce O'Neal, so
yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I think a team will. Marcus Morris can be used on a team. Like he's not finished at all.
At all. He's still a good player. It's just I just don't think it's what the Clippers necessarily need this season. But I mean, he is still a very good player. You know what's a team that I think could really use him? The Lakers. They can get all the shooting and scoring they could get.
Yeah. Do you think they would do a trade that would – I don't think those teams are doing trades anymore that will help each other. This isn't Magic and Rob Pelinka, together anymore. It's just
no, I don't think it's going to happen at all. But I was just saying that's a team that clear cut I can think of. They could use him right now.
Yeah, and then it helps AD go to the 5, and then they get scoring. They got LeBron. They got Russ, Pat they do need something, but I don't see that. It's weird, how the market is. That's why I find it hard. That's why I think that they're either going to sign Moses Brown or get someone else. But I do like how they went young on the backup center to get more potential than some vet. But I think there's still plenty of serviceable guys not signed yet. So I don't have any pessimism that they'll figure it out.
Yeah, the Detroit Pistons also have Marvin Bagley and Kelly Olynyk still. And I just looked at their numbers for the season, 28th in offensive rating, 24th in defense. So if they're 28th in offensive rating, could always use some scoring with Marcus Morris, but we'll see. Any last potential trades you can think of that may work?
I'm thinking maybe one that I also wanted, but it's not going to be that great is Mason Plumley from the Hornets, but the salaries wouldn't work if you were to give up Morris or Luke. They would have to throw in Kai Jones or Jalen McDaniels, who they both probably like and who are young. So I doubt
McDaniels for sure they like.
I doubt they would throw that in. And then there's one for the Pacers. You could get Tice for
Tice is a decent backup. He's exactly what we could need, a 10 minutes a game type of deal.
He just stretched the floor a little bit and then just a tiny bit. And then I don't know. It doesn't always have to be 1-for-1. I assume that you could be 3 ways. That's what I hate about proposing trades is
there's so many scenarios. It's not my cup of tea per se either,
Yeah, that I don't know. That's why I'm talking with it. PG, I didn't even think the Thunder would accept a trade for those 2 players until you think about draft compensation, but you don't even think about that stuff.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens.
So overall, I think it seems like the takeaway is none of these trades are likely, and they're definitely worth it for the Clippers, but they don't seem to make sense for the other side very much.
Yeah, and we're biased towards it, so we're just do it.
Yeah, exactly. But we're trying to look at it from both sides, and when we're looking at it from both sides, it doesn't seem too attractive for the other side. I think, as you said, going after a guy like a Whiteside or a Tristan Thompson as just the last roster spot of free agency is probably the move. And by the way, Clipper fans, if you're listening and you've followed the last couple of episodes, Cody Zeller, who was one of the names that Asher thought maybe was decent, just got taken off the board by was it Utah that signed him? Utah. Utah signed him. So again, my preferred pick, even though I was never a huge fan of his game, was Hassan Whiteside, just because he has a reputation for blocking shots, and he averaged 8 points and 7 boards last season, so off the bench. So I wouldn't think that's terrible.
I'm not a fan of him either, though.
Yeah, I'm not either. He has offensive deficiencies, but
lazy seems a little bit. But I do like that shot blocking thing. I think I would like Tristan Thompson.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, reunite with Ty Lue, who he won a championship with. He was be a star in the role, crashes the glass, vet, been there before, won a ring. So I would like Tristan Thompson if Moses Brown doesn't work out.
And the Clippers do not need much out of this guy that we're talking about. Whoever the backup center is, they really don't need that much. The Clippers are going to go small a lot. And Zoo, who, knock on wood, has had some of the best availability history for the Clippers in recent years. Hopefully that continues, and he has the best season of his career, because that's what it's going to need. That's what it's going to require for the Clippers to win a championship. Going to need the best season out of Zoo. But something exciting that just happened with the Clippers, a new, or should I say an old friend in terms of watching the games. The Clippers just released a big announcement, and we're going to be talking about that coming up. All right, to close out the show, the 7-year-old Clipper fan in me heard some awesome news the other day, and that was that the Clippers, your LA Clippers, on local television are returning to KTLA 5. For those unfamiliar, a local channel that you don't even need a big cable package for. It's on the most basic cable package. Basically, everybody gets it if you have it, if you have cable of any sort in LA. So for those that didn't have Bally Sports, How many games did they say they're going to give on KTLA?
I think all 4 preseason games, and then there's 11 regular season games.
Okay, so not that much. So 11 out of 82, 11 times you'll be able to see the Clippers, even if you don't have Bally Sports. How you feeling about this? I know you were a Clipper fan when we used to play on KTLA. Some nostalgia in here?
Yeah, bro. I feel like that was like when I was a kid. So I remember, like, I think road games was it that they would play KTLA, or
there was no differentiation. Like
there was. Oh, I'm thinking of the Lakers. They were on KCal on road games.
Correct. Okay. Lakers used to do road games on KCal 9, home games on FSN West. Clippers, I don't remember how they chose which games were on KTLA, but they used to just split it up.
But I do remember that like takes me back to like Elton Brand, Corey Maggette, Q Ross, Sam Cassell. Like that's like when you first started. That's when I first started going to games, 2006. So it's like,
me too.
That's when I first started thinking about that. I remember like Al Thornton of all people, like back in the day, like Ricky Davis, like at one point, like that. These are all just like random players. That's when I think of KTLA. So it's like insane, like the most hyped year in Clippers history, and they're going back to the channel that we became fans from. So I think it's a good omen. I'm excited. I have to download like the KTLA app because I don't have cable. So, and the channel, the streaming thing I have doesn't even have KTLA for some reason. So I'm excited. I think you guys can download KTLA and watch it live. I think
that's the thing. Don't you have to have a cable provider though, or not? Well,
dog, I like have DirecTV stream. So like they better like I'm in SoCal, man. I used to watch these. So I think I'm good.
Yeah, I mean you can still stream Bally Sports on the Bally Sports app given your provider. And KTLA. And by the way, if you're listening to this and you are not in LA and this means absolutely nothing to you, you're not in SoCal, illegal streams or NBA League Pass. By the way, NBA League Pass are decreasing their prices in half. They're cutting their prices in half this season for every single team. It's only $100, which is a bargain deal in my opinion compared to what it's been throughout my life. You can watch every Clipper game, every game of any team, and you can watch them after they happen. So if you want to go back or you missed a game, that's the best part about it. That's the way I abused it in college because it was tough to watch games on weekends especially, but I used to always run it back and watch. So KTLA, exciting times. But any last words on KTLA before I want you to let them know where they can find you?
I don't know. I'm excited, man. All 4 preseason games. So like, that's a good debut for KTLA. Like we're all going to be excited to watch. I don't care who plays. I'm excited to see what they're going to say about Kawhi next Friday. Like it's that close.
Media day?
Yeah. Or next Monday's media day. And then next Friday is the game. So I'm curious to what's going to happen. I swear I saw like Lon Murray from the Athletic say that they're expecting him to play preseason. So I want to see that. So yeah, I'll be tuned into these preseason games. I'm glad KTLA got that, but yeah, shout out to them.
Yeah, and by the way, I'm going to remind people, and what Chuck Mockler said when he came on the podcast may be true. The Clippers have really been posting Kawhi a lot. So if they're posting him and he's not going to play, that doesn't seem very Clipper-like. I feel like they're teasing him for a reason. So I hope we're right on that. But let them know where they can find you all throughout the season. John's going to be doing content for his stuff, and you can find it. He's always putting in the time and putting in the work, and he has a good eye for the game. Let them know where they can find your stuff.
Thank you, sir. Yeah, you could follow me on Twitter. I'm at courtside_clips. I'll do like live tweets. I'll make game threads after game if I'm not busy at work the next day. That's where I tweet my articles as well for Last Word on Sports, and then I'll tweet out my podcast for Clips Nation on that too. So yeah, follow me there, courtside_clips. I follow back a good amount of people as long as you don't look like a bot and you have some sort of followers. Then I'll hit you back with a follow, but catch me there.
Yes, sir. Appreciate you. And of course, you can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Dime Dropper Pod. And you can also find me on YouTube at Dime Dropper. It's just Dime Dropper now. So make sure you check it out. And of course, as we always say, the age-old proverb, go Clippers.